We're back on the Daily Brew, joined with artist Margaret Bakes, who is celebrating her third solo show, but her first one here in Pensacola. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now we have a piece of just one sampling of your show behind us. I mean, and Molly and I are admiring this. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And this show focuses on our coast here in Pensacola. You're a hometown girl. You moved away for 30 years, but now you're back.
I'm back, and my primary focus is our coast, the coastal South, and the beauty that is here, from the magnolia flowers and camellias to the water surface to the beaches. To Fort Pickens is a favorite subject of mine, but this is an example of my holistic pieces where I treat the entire surface the same.
Now, during your artistic career, has the coastal South always been your theme?
Oh, well, that coast. So I was in Chicago for 23 years before I returned home, and so I would go to their beaches, but I was still painting seashells and the water surface of the Gulf, and but I was also influenced at that time by
the Great Lakes.
And this was, I just did earlier this year, and it's part of a series. And so most of my work is at the museum being installed right now.
Yeah, the Pensacola Museum of Art. So this is your third solo show and your first at the Pensacola Museum of Art. Are you excited about showcasing your work at home?
I'm very excited, and the museum does such a good job. The Pensacola Museum of Art does such a wonderful job.
And we're looking at a couple of pictures now of some of your work. What are we looking at here?
Well, you're looking at some of the pieces that are going to be in the show. Most of my work is larger. So this piece, for example, is a 30 by 60, and it's called A Symphony. And of course, you see that my work is very
tranquil. It's peaceful.
It's very peaceful. I'm doing my best to paint the peace that we all find in nature, but it's been my refuge for a very long time.
I mean,
how beautiful.
Yes, like this picture to me is just gorgeous. It radiates peace, because I truly go to the beach and just sit there. We were talking about this last night. My favorite thing about the water is when you go in there, you can't hear anything.
And it's so easy to float in our Gulf because it's so salty. I can almost fall asleep. But
find a little isolation. And I love this painting right here, because especially growing up in Florida, just like Carly, the appreciation of the pine trees and the coast, there's no other place like it.
Yeah, well, along this latitude, really from about Louisiana to Jacksonville, and further south to Orlando, you see those beautiful yellow pines, but they're just absolutely majestic. And, that's what I'm communicating, is strength and beauty that can come from a peaceful heart. And so often it's been proven scientifically that that it's calming to go out into nature and turn off your phone and turn off the music and listen to the water and feel the sand in your toes. And
limit your
distractions. It's very healing.
Excellent.
Now, poetry is something that also comes to you when you're in this peaceful state, when you're painting and you're relaxed and you're listening to your own thoughts. Now, and you have a book of your poetry with you, and I believe you're reading a poem for Molly and I here this morning.
Yeah, the poetry comes to me. I put myself in a very quiet place when I paint. It's amazing how it's communicated, because it was, 1,000 people tell me without reading anything that I've written how peaceful my art is. So I'm very grateful that I can communicate it so beautifully. And when I'm in that state, the poetry comes to me. And so it's for example, this was a series I started about 12 years ago or 14 years ago, and one of my first poems was called Rocks and Shadows. Just talking about the light of life and the shadows of our lives and how to look at it. This one is in my first book of Visions, and then I also have a second book that you can get on Amazon.com, Visions Through Paintings and Poetry, and it's called A Shedding. So,
A Shedding?
A Shedding. So would you like me to read?
Yes.
So it goes like this. It's a wondrous thing, the result of shedding the many layers of the ego, all the illusions of who we think we are, all the possessions of what we think we need. An attempt to fill an inner void of which no thing, no label, no individual, no title can fill. And when one day we find the possessions, the labels, the friends, the titles have nothing to do with who we really are, it is then we have the opportunity to grow from who we have always been to the manifestation of all we can be.
Oh, beautiful,
that's
Margaret.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a great way to start the morning with a
Lovely.
nice poem. Well,
Thank
Margaret, thank you so much for joining us again. Margaret Biggs, your show starting September 25th and taking place
this
through
Friday.
This
It's an
Friday.
opening night.
Opening night.
5:30 to 7. So I hope y'all can join us.
Pensacola Museum of
Absolutely.
Art. Again, thank you so much and good luck. And we'll be back after break with the Sport Report brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge.
I'm Miles Bentley, inviting you to gear up and stay tuned to the Sport Report, brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep brand.